Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome CPAC board member Veronica Birkenstock.
Good morning, Texas CPAC. Right? Are you excited to be here? How was yesterday? Now, how do we top that, right? Well, I think you'll be thoroughly impressed with today. We have an exciting agenda for you today and tomorrow as well. We have President Trump coming tomorrow, so I know a lot of you are waiting to hear him speak. The next guest really doesn't need an introduction. He's a good friend of ours, and I'm sure every one of you have had a MyPillow. If it's not on your bed, I'm sure you have given them as gifts. You may even have some My slippers or My sheets or My, whatever. I think he has one of everything now. And there's also a new, I know we have a lot of entrepreneurs in here, and I know my husband hates Amazon. And we've always been looking for a place to go purchase items that we know they're made in the U.S. and that we can support our own commerce, and especially things that are made in America. So he has now MyStore. So if you all are interested in purchasing items that are made right here in the United States by American workers, go to MyStore. Mike, obviously, is going to tell you a lot about what he's doing, and he's got some great things to talk about today, and especially a lot about election integrity. And he's actually leaving here today to go to Wisconsin, and he and Carrie Lake and President Trump will be there later this afternoon talking about what's going on in Wisconsin and what the important things are. But to tell you a little bit about Mike, he's a fighter, and we are in a war, and it's going to take each and every one of us. And Mike will share his story today, and hopefully will motivate you to join with him and the rest of us here at CPAC as we take back our country, as we work to win back what we're fighting for, which is our freedom. And not only to win it back, but also to make sure it never happens again. So with that, because the clock tells me I have 2 minutes left, but I really want you to hear from Mike today. I want you to hear what he's been doing. And he probably is the most canceled person in the United States. Everybody's canceled him. But you know what? They're on the losing end because Mike is a fighter and he's a winner and he's going to win. And we've all read the last chapter and we know what the results are going to be and we will win in the end. And we're just in a war. It's a battle, but we win. Thank you so much for coming to CPAC, especially supporting our Texas event. And hopefully you will have a great experience, and we look forward to seeing you throughout the conference. Have a blessed day. Mike, are you back there? My honor, Mike Lindell.
Wow, thank you all, thank you. I'm gonna show this, I'm gonna do something a little different. I wanna show you a little clip we made, and we made two of them. One of them is 3 minutes long, and it's gonna tell you about an upcoming event I have that's gonna change this country and the world forever. And it's August 20th and 21st, so if you can roll that first, please.
Today, I address you not only as a citizen of the United States, but as an American, standing for all humanity. For the first time in the history of our nation, technology has been activated that attacks our Constitution with a capacity to destroy our future.
Absolute proof of the biggest cyber attack in history.
We must remove voting machines and any electronic devices from all elections forever. Elections have consequences. These selections are transforming the spirit of our country.
If the election of 2020 didn't happen, we would never, ever, ever have gotten to this great place we're going to get to. Trust me on that, ever. This was all God's plan. and we are in the greatest revival for Jesus in history.
Mike Lindell presents live the Moment of Truth Summit on frankspeech.com.
Well, we are in the greatest revival for Jesus in history. And I want to tell you, I want to compare the 2020 election will go down as the most important election in history. And here's why. I'll tell you, when I did my first infomercial on October 7, 2011, I was living in my sister's basement, and I had like 10 employees, and I did this dream of an infomercial, and we launched it that day. And 40 days later, I had 500 employees. We were the #1 infomercial in the world. Over the next 6 months, we took in $100 million. But I woke up that day, and I'm in tears. I'm going, I was $6 million in debt. And it took a couple years to dig out of that, but I just prayed. I said, God, what went wrong? What did I do wrong? But I learned so much from the spring of 2012, where the corruption was, where the mistakes were made. So much was revealed over those next 2 years, where if 2012 hadn't happened to my pillow, I wouldn't be where I'm at now with that platform God's given me for such a time we're in right now. And if you compare that, all the changes I made to where now 76 million My Pillows has sold, over 2,000 employees and all that part, it's the same thing as the 2020 election. Now I'll tell you, if we would have went to bed on at 3 in the morning, if they hadn't overrode the algorithms, if our great President Donald Trump and all of you had not overrode the algorithms of the machines, just like Carrie Lake just did last night, right? That was like a rerun, right? That was a rerun. Okay, she gets up by 12,000 votes in the middle of the night. Shut down the machines. Hurry, we got to do something. What are we going to do? Well, they couldn't do it this time because they overrode it. Okay, just like in 2020, you think of this, if we would have went to bed and if they would have predicted right, they didn't know that Donald Trump was going to get 83 million votes, everybody. That's a fact. Biden only got about 64 million, okay? But we would have all went to bed, and Biden would have won, and we would have never known. And we would have all been around going, can you believe that what happened to our kids, our children? They brainwashed them in college, the media. You know, everyone's going, we've turned into a communist country. That's what would have happened. But God said no, he gave us grace. He gave us all of the stuff that's from back then. Do you know I prayed on January 4th. On January 4th, when they had that runoff in Georgia, the 2 senators, I prayed that they would steal them both. Everyone's going, Mike, you did this. No, let me tell you, if I was their marketer, I would have said, give them back a senator so they shut up about this election and this election crime. If they would have done that, everyone would have went into a mode. Maybe not all of you, but most people would have said, let's just stop. We still have the Senate. We'll get them back in 2022, red wave. And then the next time would be blue wave, red wave, all this uniparty stuff going on. But instead, they stole them both, and everyone's going, oh, now what do we do? Well, they had a backup plan. What did they do? To silence us, they had January 6th. On January 7th is very significant that we got through January 7th, and here's why. January 7th is the day they tried to silence us forever. 1.2 million Americans lost their crooked Vimeos, YouTubes, Zuckerbucks, Facebook, Twitter, deplatformed, churches deplatformed, not just our great President Donald Trump. They tried to silence our voices. Conservative media, that one of them rhymes with Fox, went completely silent about the election. Okay? They went silent about it. They won't talk to you about the election. They won't even talk. We have 2,000 mules on there. That has nothing to do with machines. It's disgusting. Okay? But they didn't silence our voices, okay? And over the last year and a half now, here's where we're at, and here's what's going to get our country back. The judges. And everyone's going, Mike, the judges, they didn't have our back then. Let me tell you, I'll tell you who didn't have our back were all the legislatures. We've learned now the Republican legislatures in a lot of these states, they turn their back on us. We have learned so much from the 2020 election where the the horrible, we call them rhinos. I call them criminal rhinos. You go to Brad Rassenberger down in Georgia, it's disgusting what he's done. Okay, and there's a blocker in every state. Well, Rusty Bowers is gone, everybody. How about that? You got the blocker Robin Voss up in Wisconsin. The president just endorsed his opponent. God bless him, because Robin Voss needs to go. Okay, these are things that are going to happen. But I want to tell you about the judges. You go back a year and a half ago, and those judges, not one judge looked at evidence. Not one. Actually, I take them back. In Antrim County, Michigan, the judge did look there. If you all heard that on the news, he looked, but he didn't rule on it. He said, oh, I don't want to be the first guy to be able to talk about this. The judges had fear back then. They have families too. They're like all of us. They have friends, family, children, grandchildren. They didn't want, we were in an anomaly back then. We're still in an anomaly in history. But now it's different. They've all learned so much. They've, people that were over here are now in the middle because they see how our country's being destroyed. This isn't a Democrat thing. This is, the Democratic Party just likes that they were picked in this fraud election. We skipped right over socialism to communism is where we're at. But these judges now are getting braver. Look at the judge in Florida that made the great ruling and said the masks are nonsense on airplanes and no mandates, right? That changed history. Look at Roe v. Wade right in the middle of all this. What a miracle, right? We have a judge. Here's another thing with Kari Lake. Kari, we're doing preliminary injunctions to get rid of the machines in all these states. We started with Arizona 2 weeks ago. You're not going to see this on Fox News. You need to go to Frank's speech. You need to go to my platform. You're going to hear it. That's why I built it, so we could get the word out. But this judge in Arizona agreed to look at the case, and he was an Obama-appointed judge. He's just doing his job as a judge. I got terrible ones out in D.C. One of them was Trump appointed with the big fight of the machines there. But this judge looked at it, and I want you to think of this. This judge looked at this. It was a hearing 2 weeks ago. Looks at all the evidence of these machines, and the relief is to get rid of them and do paper ballots and hand count it. Okay. He looked at it. Now compare it to this. If I told you, if I'm in the state of Arizona, or let's say I'm here in Texas, and I said, hey, do you know we have reason to believe that all your cars don't have brakes? And then finally you get a judge to look at it, and he goes, ooh, that's not good. And then he's got to make a ruling of why you should either still drive on these cars with no brakes or get rid of them. So that judge, but he's looking at whatever he rules, either way is a win. He looked at it, everybody. And judge after judge is going to start looking at this stuff. There's stuff going on in every state right now. And I want to tell you, the way we're at right now, I am having what you've seen in there. I deal with all 50 states. We have a call once a week, millions of people from around this country that have been fighting in the grassroots and lawsuits. There's stuff. Every state I get on the call, they say, we had the most fraud in our state. We had the most fraud in our state. So what we're doing, it's the Moment of Truth Summit, August 20th and 21st. I'm telling you, if you get everyone, it's going to be live streamed on Frank's Speech. Get the app now if you don't have it. It'll be live streamed there to the world. At the Cyber Symposium, I had about 3-4 million people. This, I need at least 100 million people to watch. It doesn't fail if people watch. I'm telling you, all the pieces are there. I need one prayer that millions and millions can watch this. We're going to have all 50 states on stage the first day, and it's invite only, by the way, for that part. But all 50 states are going to get on there in alphabetical order and say what their current footprint is. Okay, on that day. Then that night we're showing Selection Code. It's a movie by Lara Logan. That's a world premiere. I'm giving it away free to the world. This is a full feature film that could make millions in the box office. I want the world to be saved and get it out there. So that, and then the next day we're having the Trial of the Machines. Nice name, right? Trial of the Machines. And they don't get to come, just kind of like that big charade out there at the January 6th garbage, okay? By the way, if that January 6th, I've said, I'll come and show you the evidence. They won't let me come, you know? I've offered, come on, I'd love to be there, Pelosi, to tell you what a charade this is. You guys all know the FBI ruled that there was a year ago on June 26th, that there was no collusion with Donald Trump or his backers. It should have been over then. It's a joke. But anyway, there's another thing I want to tell you. The last thing I want to say is at that event, we're going to have people up on stage from other countries. And this is very important you hear me on this. Over 54 countries have now been taken by the machines or are getting taken by the machines. And you never get to go back. Venezuela, Australia, they're gone. You don't get to vote out the machines once they're there. Once they're there, you don't get your country back. God gave us grace, and he gave us, this is the one time in history, this is the best time to be alive, because history is going to look back and say, every one of you have taken a part of this to save our country and get rid of these machines before we're gone forever. Because if like Ronald Reagan said, if the lights go out here, they go out everywhere. The whole world is watching. We can't, now if we don't get rid of them by the fall, all of them, we're going to have, everybody's going to go vote these great candidates like Carrie Lake and override the machines, and we're going to get rid of them eventually, all of them. And I'll end this with this. God's given us grace for such a time as this, so we have to make this the greatest revival for Jesus Christ in history. Thank you all. God bless you.